I did that thing. I did that thing where I forgot to unmute us when we went live.
We
Let's
did the
try.
whole
Let's
intro, and
let's try. Hold on, wait, hold on. Go to
I'm
starting
the
screen.
sleepy one.
I know, I know. I'm all thumbs today. I'm all thumbs today. That's Psycho. What's up, man? Appreciate you joining in. So anyway, welcome to this week's Midweek Marquee. Uh, I'm Steve, and I'm joined today, of course, by my devastatingly handsome co-host.
Hi, I'm John.
What's up, baby?
I'm John as usual.
Good to see you. Good. Appreciate everybody coming in right now. So this week, we talked a little bit about it earlier this week. We're doing, as you can see by the background behind me, um, we're doing some Star Wars: Old Republic this week, and
I think that's literally the same splash page that I just pulled up for the thumbnail.
perfect. And so pretty much, yeah, I picked this one because there's not a lot in the middle, but there's a lot on this area where I can like kind of let me get this out of Malgus's face here. Um, Actually, no, I could like blend in with his respirator. Anyway, so this is a game I like Star Citizen. I started out when it had first come out in 2012. I wouldn't call myself an original backer for Star Citizen, um, but it was that's a completely different animal entirely. But this is another game that I played since day one, and I still play it to this day. It's a game that I hold near and dear to my heart. It's one of those games where I can play it over and over again and not get bored. It's such a fun game. The story is great. The voice acting is phenomenal. And for an MMO, the graphics aren't that bad. Like comparatively to something like World of Warcraft, which I think it's very similar to, as far as like its combat system and even like the nameplates and stuff and everything. Really excited to get John into this. John is a bit of a I would say you're like a veteran World of Warcraft player.
Yeah, I got in um, after the first expansion. I wasn't a day oneer. I got in after the first expansion, and I played it all the way up until Cataclysm.
Yeah.
But I am I do like that style of RPG. I'm a Mass Effect player. I'm a Oblivion. I'm my first exposure to that would be Morrowind. I go that far back in that game. So yeah, I'm excited to try it out.
I'm excited for you.
I'm not.
I'm so stoked. Now you played Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2, right?
Yes.
Okay.
One. I played Knights of the Old Republic one. I didn't get into two. I'm unfamiliar with it. I watched a buddy of mine play it.
You're like somewhat familiar with like Darth Treya and
I'm loosely familiar with the storyline.
Visamar.
No,
Hmm.
but I'll pick it up.
All
I'll
right.
I'll think.
So pretty much how it goes is like this is essentially like a Knights of the Old Republic 3. It could be considered that as far as like storyline.
Okay.
This takes place. I want to say it's 300 years after Knights of the Old Republic 2, I believe, and it's kind of a continuation of that. Like there's a like you do go back to Taurus at one point, and you see like the wreckage of the Endar Spire from like the first one from Knights of the Old Republic 1. Like there's a part where you can like visit the wreckage there. It's like you get some coder feels in the game, but you also have the option to visit all these other planets that are reminiscent of like the original trilogy, like Tatooine and Hoth. But you also get to go to planets like Nar Shaddaa and Hutta. What else? And then like different levels Like you can only visit certain planets really up to visit level. Alan, what's up, babe? Uh, I let like certain planets are like, oh, this planet's like from like 1 to 10, and then like this next one's like it's like the more you progress in the story and the planets you visit, everything will be kind of like as far as you progress through the story, the NPCs are going to be like at your level, and if you're above that level, you'll be acclimated to that level, just so it's kind of even, and it's not. It's always going to be a challenge, which is cool. So it's good that you played the first one. This is fellas. Puck drop is at 7:30, so forgive me if I'm in and out. No, you're good, dude. I thought the Rangers game was at 4:30. Actually, I digress though. So yeah, this is going to be a fun one. It's going to be, and I think it's going to be an interesting combo of having like a World of Warcraft veteran reacting to Star Wars: The Old Republic, and me being a Star Wars: The Old Republic veteran, kind of like showing you the ropes and seeing gauging your reaction to it. It's going to be really fun. Is there I know we said we're going to do a character creation live when we first pick it up, when we first start streaming it. Do you have any idea of like what kind of character you want to go with? Like, are you going to go Republic? Are you going to go Empire?
So that's a very interesting question that you asked. So because over the years, I used to always pick like dark characters, and I was always like evil characters, and I would remember, especially I think it was Coder that when I played it, I picked a dark character, and about halfway through it, I'm like, I'm leaning into the light side so much.
Mm-hmm.
I really need to stop. So I usually play we'll say like a rogue-esque character with good side leanings, good morals. I'm never truly like White Knight. I feel like you can't, because I always enjoy when those shitty characters get their comeuppance.
Yeah.
So like, in like Red Dead, I was like, if it was the bar, it was always like there. I usually fell around like here on the white side. Like I was usually not quite all the way, but usually pretty good.
Morally flexible.
But yeah, good but morally flexible. I usually, when it was appropriate, I usually beat somebody to death.
Yeah, I get that. Like, I was actually playing Cyberpunk recently, and there's the one guy, Dr. Fingers. It gave me the option to like just. I was playing as a corpo, and I was trying to be like somewhat like diplomatic, corporate, like like business style, and I'm like, it gave me like the option to punch him like twice, like the first moment when we get into his office, and then like later on at the end of the conversation, and I didn't punch him at all, but I was like, you know what? Let me go back to my last checkpoint, and it was like right when we first start talking to him, and as soon as I get the option to punch him in the face, I just grab him by his ear and just fucking like clock him, and he's like, I'm like, give me the answer. He's like, I this and that and the other. He gives me all the information, and then I knock him out, and I'm like, that was so much more satisfying because the guy's a fucking creep, and I'm just like, okay, but yeah, I'm the same way. Like, I love being like, that's why I love Grey Jedi. They're my favorite characters in all of Star Wars, and I gotta say though, my favorite of all this, I've played pretty much every storyline, dark side and light side, and you can have the option to be like both light and dark, and in the same way in Knights of the Old Republic, you have a dark and light meter, where like you're more leaning towards this way, and then you get dark side points and light side points, depending on your stance within the Force. And there's actually dark side and light side vendors on the fleets. You have the Imperial fleet, and then you have the Republic fleet, and you that's kind of like the main hub where a lot of players meet up to either up their gear for operations or PvP or different things like that. And I being a strictly light side Sith as my all-time favorite story to play, because there's something about being a dark Sith, or being a Sith Lord who is like very just and noble, and people are like, "Wait, you're not going to kill me?" And it's like, "Nah, I just wanted some information. Thank you."
Give me a rundown of the classes. What are the classes?
So, if you choose Republic, you have a Jedi Knight, which is typically more focused on lightsaber combat, very few force attacks, and then you have the Jedi Consulars, which are your Jedi who are more focused on force attacks and not as much lightsaber attacks.
Okay.
And then you have your Troopers, and then you have your Smugglers. Each of those class has a subclass that can be either more tank or DPS or healing.
Okay.
I can give you more of a rundown on that once we get to character creation, depending if you prefer DPS, healing, or tanking. On the Imperial side, you have Sith warriors, which are kind of like the opposite end of the spectrum with Jedi Knights. Very lightsaber heavy, melee attacks, not so much force attacks. They have a few, but not a lot. And then there's Sith Inquisitors, which are the other side of the spectrum with Jedi Consulars. Sith Inquisitors are very like dark side force attacks, like Force Lightning and all this stuff. Very few lightsaber attacks. And then the other two classes you have are Bounty Hunter or Imperial Agent. And Imperial Agent's a fun one. You can kind of you kind of get this like spy espionage like storyline. Bounty Hunter is pretty self-explanatory. And then yeah, and then like the Trooper for the Republic, you're just kind of like, you're a soldier. Smuggler, you're just kind of like, your typical Han Solo type, cowboy in space. That's pretty much it.
I know it's cliche. I'm probably going to end up playing the Smuggler.
Fair.
Not super interested in trying to figure out. That was sort of the funny thing. Is I did the same thing with World of Warcraft. I had like one of every class just to try them all out, and I ended up landing either I like being a tank or I like being a rogue, and so I would probably end up being a smuggler.
Okay. Smuggler, if you want to go for like a rogue type, your class of choice would probably be a scoundrel. That's a subclass that uses invisibility, like field generator type thing, where you can like kind of sneak around and be invisible. You can either have one pistol, or dual wield pistols, or have a sniper rifle, blaster rifle, or like a fucking heavy ass gun. Pretty much anything that's a Jedi or Sith, you pretty much have one lightsaber or two, or double bladed. Anything that's not that, you either have a blaster or blasters, blaster rifle, or a heavy gunner, sniper rifle. It used to be you could only have like Sith warriors. You always had just one lightsaber, and then if you picked a subclass, which was a Sith Marauder, you had two. Sith Inquisitors always had either a double lightsaber or one, depending on the subclass you picked. You were always like anchored to like one thing, but in one of the recent updates, they made it so you could just kind of
anybody can do a little bit of anything,
pretty much. And another interesting thing that I like about this game is like, so you can create your own family tree with your characters. So say you create a Jedi, right? Like you just are like, my first character is going to be a Jedi. Once you get them to level 50, you complete the storyline, and you're like, all right, let me see. I want to see what the Trooper class is like now. So you start playing that Trooper class, and you add that Trooper to your Jedi's family tree as like the son or daughter of that Jedi. Now, because they are a part of that family tree, now that trooper is force sensitive, and if you activate this heroic moment in your thing, it will suddenly, like, you're shooting someone with a blaster rifle, and then suddenly you'll just pick up a boulder with the force and hurl it at somebody. So it's little things like that. It's not going to be something you do all the time. It's mainly when you trigger a heroic moment, which is a buff, essentially,
Okay.
where you kind of you get a trickle effect of health every few seconds or something when you're like, if you're getting swarmed or you're fighting a heavy or strong or elite character. And but yeah, like that's another fun part of the story. And you create a legacy, so your legacy name is pretty much like the last name of the character you want to make. So like, you know, it kind of, so you can have your, in your nameplate, it shows up as like your character's first name and the legacy name. And it's really interesting. It's really fun. It's another little fun thing that they added to it.
It's interesting. I'm eager to play. I'm eager to see what I do. I don't think I'm going to do anything. What's the term? Fantastical, but
Yeah, but it's still good. I think it's gonna be fun just to see the first time you play it and see how it do, and how you feel about it. I think it's probably. I know you're not like super into Star Wars. I know you appreciate it and you know a little bit about it, but I also know you kind of have an addictive personality, so you might get.
I do not.
You got into Space Marines as like a thing to just paint to pass the time, and now you like are so heavily invested in the lore. So I think and the Old Republic is ripe with lore. Ratsu, what's up? I think you're gonna get a kick out of it, and I actually want to give you a little bit of. There's a video I'll send you after the nerds. There's a video I'll send you after the It's called autistic hyperfixation.
I do have that. I have that.
We're all on the spectrum somewhere. But yeah, after this, I'm gonna send you a video. Actually, we could probably watch it together while we figure out how we're gonna stream it. While we're doing that, we can watch it together. It's pretty much like every cinematic that they released in order.
I'm watching that.
It's like 20 minutes.
You know how you like to go into movies and like know nothing about them?
Yeah.
Same way.
Well, no, it doesn't reveal anything for the story.
No. No. La 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 la. La 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 la. La la la. No.
So, all right. So you're gonna go for a smuggler class. That's gonna be fun. I will say half the fun of this game is literally playing dress up, like dressing up your character and getting all the different armors and like, oh man, this guy looks cool. Because it's one of those games where you're playing in third person a lot. They don't really have you can scroll all the way in to first person view, but it's not like you're gonna be in like a first person shooter thing where you have your blaster and it's not like that. Like Elder Scrolls Online does that, which I like. I wish they did something like this.
I wish I liked Elder Scrolls Online.
ESO was fun. That was a really fun one.
I got high. I got high in the levels, but I ended up. It's just the polish wore off because it got very redundant.
Mm.
There was way too many like fetch this, kill. I hate fetch quests.
Yeah,
and I'm glad that the industry is actually starting to get away from a lot of those fetch quests.
There's a few things like that where it's like one of the first missions you do as a Jedi on Tython. It's like kill 10 of these, okay, and then you go do that. But a lot of these other missions are like, hey, I heard these two people are Can you go talk to these people and get some information for me? Like I'll pay you for your services and this and that. Like, and then. It's fun. There's a lot you can do in this game. Like I said, I've I still play it to this day since day one, like 13 years later, and
Well,
it's gotten nothing but better. And they keep adding more story to it. Like it used to be, the level cap started out at like 55, and now it's like 85, I think now, or 80 or 85. I forget what the level cap is now. Raven, if you remember, please remind me. But yeah, it's fun. I love it. Yeah, I can't wait to show up and like be like, look at this lightsaber I made. And that's another thing, like the crafting, like you can make your own lightsabers. You can craft your own blaster rifles, or blaster pistols, armor pieces, dye modules for armor, color crystals, all that stuff. I love dress up games. I like Cyberpunk and Baldur's Gate 3. Yeah, mix and match the shoulders and gauntlets. Yeah, I remember in Morrowind I had this dark elf that was like, I had him like in like the bone mold looking armor. It was like the boots, the greaves, but he had just one shoulder piece and gauntlet that was armored, and the rest of him was shirtless, because it kind of reminded me of like a Final Fantasy look, and I used to be really into Final Fantasy at the time, like in that like early 2000s era, and I was like, oh, this looks cool, and I just had like,
I used to rock the one bold mode, the Ordinator, where it was like the smooth. And
yes, yep.
And then on my sword side, I had the big one that had the spikes on it.
I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
They weren't that hard. They weren't that hard to find. Then I usually had like a very one of the unique masks. Either it was one of the Daedra masks, and then I usually wore like an Ordinator's chest plate with usually iron greaves and iron
boots.
Not pants. My brain keeps saying pants, but boots. Yeah. So yeah, and I usually play Dark Elf.
Yeah, I had a mask there was only one mask that I really used, and I forget what it was, but I remember that I almost always wore it because it allowed me to breathe underwater. I forget which one it was.
One of the more famous ones, and I think it's a Daedra mask.
I liked how the Daedra armor looked in Morrowind too, but like I didn't really do a lot of questing there. Like I spent almost all my time just like,
I hate to say it, but the Daedra armor in Morrowind is peak. Anything else after that, whether it's Skyrim...
I like the Skyrim Daedra armor. I couldn't stand it in Oblivion. Oblivion, I feel like their armors were less than mid. It was very like... I don't know, like even the Dark Brotherhood armor in Morrowind and Oblivion, I wasn't a big fan of. I can't tell you because I was addicted to playing Argonian, so I had one. Yeah. That was convenient too.
Hey, buddy. You can jump. You jumping?
Is that little man?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I think you're gonna like this. I think you're gonna get a kick out of it. It's a fun one. Like I said, what keeps bringing me back to Star Wars: Old Republic is the story. That's what really is a big selling point for me for the replayability for that game. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't really think there was anything else we were going to cover today for the midweek marquee. Next week, though, and we'll get more into it on Monday. So this Friday, we're doing the...
Say nothing. We're gonna do swtor this Friday.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's
you're
all
right.
We're gonna talk about.
We'll talk about it Monday. So we'll tell y'all what we're getting into next week for this week in general.
So Ratsumi, I didn't know about Daggerfall until like after Skyrim. I had Arena when it first came out, way back when you had to play it on DOS, and if you had like too much RAM, it was like flying through light speed because the game played too fast. I got into Morrowind, and I never knew that they were actually connected. I never, I think when Arena came out, I was like 8 years old, and then Morrowind came out, I was like 15, and I didn't understand the concept. Yeah. I have been tempted because they have them all on Xbox PC. So I've wanted to play Daggerfall. I just watch a lot of the Let's Plays of Daggerfall, because just to kind of get an idea of it, because it seemed like I just would piss away so much of my life.
My my older brother had Daggerfall on back when it was like, I think he had it on, like, it came on like multiple floppy disks.
Oh yeah.
That you had to like download it to your computer and then play it, because I think to this day Daggerfall still holds the record for like largest map ever for a video game.
Yeah. Not anymore as of recently. There's another game that did that, but we're talking about Daggerfall came out in about 95, and it just recently got
98.
No. Hi, Mom.
There we go. Daggerfall video game. 96.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Released September 20th, 1996 for MS-DOS, following the success of 94's Arena.
Yeah. Yeah, 94. I was like, yeah. I was.
And I remember in Daggerfall you could actually have horses.
Yeah.
And then you couldn't in Morrowind.
Yeah.
And then like Oblivion came out and they had horses, and it's like, oh, we have horses again.
Yeah.
And that was a big selling point for Oblivion. I actually remember being at Kevin's house playing Morrowind or Oblivion on the Xbox 360, and we were like, this is so cool, we have horses.
Oh, such a great game.
Oh, it was a classic.
I still wish that they would actually figure out how to I wish that they would figure out how to complete brain fart.
Don't you love when that happens?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's ADD, so because I saw Microsoft Flight Simulator is bigger than Daggerfall, which is yes, but I believe I believe the category is for a non-simulation game, largest map for a non-simulation game, and that threw me off of what I was trying to say. Yeah, okay, moving on.
Horses in Oblivion and playing at Kevin's house, and I was like, oh man, we have horses now, this is great.
Yep, nope, wasn't related to that.
Gone. All right.
It's gone. It's gone.
Nope, it's gone. I love getting a wagon from a horse, and Daggerfall or clearing out dungeons for less scrap I could get in towns. Yeah, that's pretty much why all I did in Morrowind was I just like would like pickpocket and like steal things and kill people and take their stuff and then sell it.
Yes, I think it's Elite Dangerous. I think Elite Dangerous is the one that finally toppled Daggerfall.
Yeah, actually, you're right. Yeah, it's an entire galaxy, like legit. Like Elite Dangerous is,
but I believe,
ridiculous.
But that again is multiple planets. But I believe they're not procedurally generated. I believe they're actually mapped out. So like where Starfield, all of Starfield's maps are procedurally generated. So they're different every time that you land.
I think that's multiple planets. If you exclude galaxies and simulators, Daggerfall is top. Yeah. But yeah, damn, we got 11 viewers right now.
That's what I was going to say. I wish that they figured out a way to take Morrowind's roll engine and apply it to a new game, because Morrowind's roll engine was actually based off of paper tabletop games.
Yes, I do remember that, because I remember thinking like, why am I swinging at this thing it's like every swing is like a D20 roll, and I'm just like, why I'm hitting this thing in the face and it's not doing any damage. And it was like a fucking cliff glider or whatever those things were.
Yes, clip racers.
Yeah.
Clip racers.
Oh my
The
god.
one thing that I'm so glad they got rid of, but I kind of wish they would bring them back in a way.
Why? So you could throw something at your monitor?
Yeah, or throw my monitor at something.
Yeah. I love Marwin's comment system, even though people hate it. Yeah, I had a love-hate relationship with it.
I loved it. I loved it. I feel like it's if they would play test it now, I think it would make so many more games more organic, because that was the beauty of it. Is it was organic. You could literally train a specific skill to be a better skill by itself. Like, and it's so hard to explain, like, without playing it. It was just so much more of an organic game.
Well,
And
that's kind of what I like about Skyrim, because it's like if I block with a sword or with a shield, like it's like I'm blocking. Like, yeah, granted, I can level up my blocking to be a little better, but like, you know, if I hit you with my sword, that you're hit. If you blocked it, you blocked it. You know, it's that's another. So
Rasui, yes.
RPG game with performance skill
Yes.
system.
Yes, you have to genuinely train your character, and the progression feels great. Yes, my problem with Skyrim was it was too easily breakable. Like you were saying, like there's so many ways to create a Skyrim character that's OP by literally just taking a rubber band, strapping it across a button, and sticking them in the corner, and like they're just going to sit there and run until, you know, they boom, 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 you know.
That's another thing I wish they kept from the other games in Skyrim is like I miss playing games like Morrowind and Oblivion, and just like running and jumping around and just having a little thing message that comes that says your acrobatics have increased, and I wish they kept that in Skyrim. I just need a video game developer sugar daddy that can just pay me to make them all that. There you go. Not a banned account.
Share the stream.
Yeah.
I will totally. I would love to put a development to a game. I'm trying to get my son into coding, for Christ's sake.
Is the corrupt old republic symbolic of an America under Trump?
Where is that? I don't see that.
That's someone that said, not a banned account in YouTube chat says, is the corrupt old republic symbolic of it? I would, yeah, I feel like if, I don't, God, who would Suresh be? Who would Governor Suresh? So Governor Suresh is a character you come across in the Old Republic that is like, for lack of a better term, an asshole. And you run into her later on in the story, but she's very like into politics and focusing on her image and everything rather than actually running the Republic well. So yeah, to answer your question, I don't know the answer to that actually.
There it is, live chat. I had it in top chat.
But yeah, I really loved spell crafting in Morrowind. I didn't do much spell like I said, I was like you know, I ran around with the Tonto and snuck around and I did a little bit of, like, mainly like bow and arrow and like Tonto were like my main weapons.
I created a fireball spell called "Cause Fuck You," and it did 3,000 damage with like the maximum
Splash damage?
maximum radius.
Yeah.
And it was 3,000 damage, but it was 1 damage over time. So it was like one damage over 3,000 seconds. 1 damage a second over 3,000 seconds.
So you're just throwing napalm at someone.
You would just throw this, yes, and it would like just set everybody on fire, and they would just be like, ugh, ugh, ugh.
Although making crazy ass spells for long jumping across the map. I've seen people do that. Damn, we got 14 viewers. God damn. What's up,
Thanks
everybody?
for showing up, everybody. I think we should do it later. It's usually we do these at like 5:30, 6 o'clock, and nobody shows up.
Yeah, it's like everybody's still at work. But yeah, so anybody who's just joining in this week, John and I'm a Star Wars: The Old Republic veteran. John is pretty much going to be playing it for the first time. He's a World of Warcraft veteran, and I'm excited to see his take on this game. I love it. The story's phenomenal, and I think that's going to be one of the things that might keep him logging in every now and then and playing a little bit here and there. It's
We'll see. We'll see. I don't really have the time to dedicate as much to video games as I used to.
fair.
I try. It's another reason why I play like storyline games so that I can kind of like crush through them and then get back to life because, 3 kids.
Yeah, I get it. I also really love that you could drop items on top of other items and then remove the bottom one and use it to build stuff in world and decorate my houses. I use soul gems to make Christmas lights around my house's front door one year. That's cool.
My brain literally just went to you like jumping on top of stuff to drop it.
Oh man. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. We covered everything. So yeah, we will be streaming this week, Friday. What time should we shoot for? Probably like 7 o'clock? 8 o'clock maybe? I think 7's a good.
Well, you're not driving down here, right? We're gonna do.
Yeah,
telecast.
we're gonna telecast it.
You want to go? Because we usually do like 8 to like fucking midnight. We've done it for the past couple weeks. Yeah, I mean 7's good.
All right.
11 o'clock.
As long as I'm not keeping you keeping you up and keeping you from the family too long or anything.
No, I think I can handle that.
All right. Well, in that case,
That's working.
so
So why don't we shoot for 8 o'clock? That way I can make sure the baby's asleep.
8 o'clock it is.
Yeah, that way
Alright.
the baby's asleep, the kids can watch a movie, and they won't care what I'm doing.
Easy peasy. All right.
Hey,
All right, everybody. You heard it here first. 8 o'clock Friday. We will be doing a dual stream of both of us playing Star Wars: The Old Republic here on the podcast and all that fun stuff. So yes, please like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Links in the bio if you want to support us directly with merch or direct revenue or whatever. Just all that fun stuff. I appreciate you guys being here, and we will see you Friday. Say bye, John.
bye.
I was kind of hoping you'd be like, bye, John.
Bye, John.